It's with great pleasure that we welcome you to the fascinating world of beer making. Beer has always been synonymous with parties and pleasure. Beer is also one of the oldest alcoholic beverages and the one most consumed all over the world. No one knows exactly where the whole thing began, but we do know that the Vikings knew the secret of brewing. Beers at one time were considered a medication. Fortunately for us, times have changed, and beer is now consumed as a refreshment. This instructional video was created to show you the various stages, procedures, and pleasures of producing your own excellent beer. Let us identify the various types of equipment you will need for the production of quality beer. Primary fermenter lid, long plastic spoon, rigid siphon rod, flexible siphoning hose, carboy, bung and airlock, wine thief, sample container, hydrometer, thermometer. A large portion of the equipment is made of plastic. It's important that these products be food-grade plastics, so they do not distort the taste or aroma of your beer. The process begins by cleaning, rinsing, and sanitizing the primary fermenter, the spoon, and the lid with a proper bleaching detergent. It's important to note that the cleaning process be done immediately prior to making the wine. Consult your retailer for the proper cleaning agents, as most household agents are not suitable for sanitizing the equipment. We strongly recommend a chlorinated detergent, strong enough to kill germs and bacteria. Usually, these detergents do not create large amounts of suds and are easy to rinse. Once you've completed washing the equipment, it's necessary to ensure that it is rinsed with hot water to eliminate all residues. Now that all the equipment is clean, sanitize it with a sulfite solution. Let's go through the steps on how to prepare a sanitizing solution. You'll need a 4-liter container with a plastic cap, some metabisulfite crystals, and regular tap water. We now pour 50 grams of potassium metabisulfite into the glass container and fill the container with tap water. Stir well to dissolve sulfite, and you now have 4 liters of sanitizing solution. This solution should be effective 4 to 6 weeks. After this length of time, the sanitizing solution may lose some of its strength, so it is recommended to make a new solution. To sanitize, simply rinse all the equipment with the solution. There's no need to soak the equipment, as the solution is very strong and only requires a short contact period. As long as all your equipment comes into contact with the solution, it will be sanitized. Make sure to pour the used sulfite solution back into your glass container for further use. Once you have completed washing, rinsing, and sanitizing the equipment, it's necessary to ensure that it is rinsed with sterile water to eliminate all residues. To do that, you may use tap water which you have boiled for 15 to 20 minutes, or use distilled water. Afterwards, let the equipment drain and avoid unnecessary handling. We are now ready to start the beer making process, but at this stage we'd like to bring to your attention that there are two different ways to do the preparation. In one case, the malt extract will require the addition of corn sugar, and in the other case, you don't need it. Both ways are very simple to do, so the choice is up to you. In this video, we will see how to prepare what is called the wort, using both types of malt extract. Step number 1, making the wort. For our first example, we will use a malt extract which needs the addition of corn sugar. Now let's take a look at the contents of the kit. Remove the cap, under which you have the instructions and the yeast. You will also need a bag of corn sugar. Note the type of beer and the code number on the can. Remove the label from the can and place the can unopened in hot water for about 15 minutes. This will help to soften the contents. At the same time, using a large pot, boil 3 to 4 liters of water. When the malt extract and water are ready, it's time to remove the can from the hot water. To do so, we recommend the use of oven mitts to avoid burning yourself. Using a can opener, open the can and pour the contents into the primary fermenter. Rinse the can twice with hot water, adding the contents to the fermenter. Add the rest of the hot water and stir vigorously to dissolve. Now it's time to add the corn sugar. Refer to your recipe for the exact amount to be added. In this case, 4 cups are needed. We recommend corn sugar because it's more readily fermentable than table sugar. If you're planning on experimenting with table sugar, we suggest you refer to your retailer to know the exact amount to use. In fact, 1 cup of corn sugar is not equal to 1 cup of table sugar. Once you have added the sugar, bring contents of the primary fermenter to the 23-liter mark using water. During the process of reconstituting your malt extract, it's strongly recommended that the water used is of suitable quality. This may require the use of bottled or purified water. So therefore, throughout this video, when we speak of water, we mean good quality water. Once you have reached the 23-liter mark, stir vigorously. This is it. We've prepared our first wort, and it's ready to receive the yeast. For the moment, cover the fermenter and let us go on to the second example. In this case, we'll be working with a malt extract which does not require the addition of sugar. Now let's take a look at the contents of the kit. First note the type of beer and the code number on the box. Now open the box and make sure that all the ingredients are enclosed. You will find a bag that contains instructions, a package of yeast, a package of clarifier. Also enclosed is a large bag of prepared wort. Make sure that all your equipment is clean, rinsed, and sanitized. Now we take the bag holding it upright by the neck. We remove the spout cap and pour the contents into the primary fermenter. When the bag is empty, rinse it with warm water and add this to the primary fermenter. Next, add water to the fermenter up to the 23-liter or 5-gallon mark. Again, it's strongly recommended that the water used is of suitable quality, which may require the use of bottled or purified water. Once you have reached the 23-liter mark, stir vigorously. Et voila! We have prepared in just a few minutes our second wort ready to receive the yeast. You've certainly noticed a few differences between the two methods of preparing the wort. As a new brewer, you will have fun experimenting with both techniques, and you will see that they both give an excellent beer. The choice is up to you. From now on, what you will see is the same for both worts. We now have a wort ready to receive the yeast. Before you do so, we must take the specific gravity and the temperature of the wort. To do this, clean, sanitize, and rinse all the instruments to be used for this test. Use the wine thief to obtain a sample of wort for the test jar. Be sure to obtain enough liquid so the hydrometer will float. Now, place the hydrometer in the test jar and spin it to release the carbon dioxide commonly called CO2, which will ensure a correct reading. Read the hydrometer by looking at the liquid eye level. At this stage, you should obtain a reading of 1.042 to 1.044. Note that in some cases the reading could be higher or lower. Always refer to the kit instructions. The next step is to add the yeast. It's important to ensure that the temperature of the wort is correct to effectively develop the yeast culture, which is a fragile living organism. Place a sanitized thermometer in the wort for about 1 minute. It should read between 21 and 24 degrees Celsius. Now, sprinkle the yeast into the wort and stir gently. Now cover the primary fermenter with a sanitized plastic sheet and hold it in place with an elastic band, or use a suitable lid or cover. We recommend that you place your primary fermenter on a table or counter to facilitate the siphoning in the second stage. Fermentation should start within the next 24 to 48 hours. This is normally characterized by the formation of foam and the presence of carbon dioxide. Take daily temperature and specific gravity readings and make a note of them in your beer logbook. These results can be used to permit a correct analysis in the event that you have problems with the fermentation. We suggest that you keep this logbook for future reference. Your daily hydrometer reading should be decreasing, and the temperature should remain between 21 and 24 degrees Celsius. If this does not happen, you should contact your retailer to correct the situation as soon as possible. We now go to step number 2, siphoning. The amount of time necessary to reach this point may vary depending on the temperature of your beer. It normally takes 3 to 6 days for the specific gravity to decrease to a reading of 1.010 to 1.008. Once this specific gravity is achieved, we prepare the gelatin finings by soaking the contents of the package of clarifier in 50 milliliters of cool water for 10 minutes. Then, heat carefully to dissolve. Make sure that you do not boil it. Before siphoning, make sure that all your equipment is clean, rinsed, and sanitized. The necessity of cleanliness, rinsing, and sanitizing is one of the most important steps in the production of a good beer. Once your equipment is ready, place your siphoning rod into your primary fermenter, taking care not to disturb the sediment. With your mouth, you siphon the liquid and let it flow into the carboy. Gravity will do the rest. Continue the siphoning procedure until the level reaches 5 to 13 centimeters from the neck of the carboy. Then, add the finings which we have previously prepared. And stir gently. We must now place the bung and airlock onto the carboy. To do this, fill the airlock up to the middle with sulfite solution and replace the cap. You will note that the liquid is pushed by the pressure of the gas, and the gas bubbles travel through the liquid. This is a normal reaction, and frequency will decrease over a period of time. You must now leave the beer at room temperature 21 to 24 degrees Celsius for the next 8 days. The beer should not be tested or stirred during this period. After the 8 days are over, we should check the specific gravity. At this stage, the reading should be, in this case, 1.008 to 1.006, Always refer to the kit instructions. In some cases, the reading could be higher or lower. Leave the beer a further 2 days, then check the specific gravity again. If you get the same reading, then your beer is ready to be bottled. If not, leave the beer for a further 2 days and check again. Terminal gravity must remain the same for 48 hours, with no activity in the airlock. We now go to step number 3, bottling. It's important to note that the bottles have already been cleaned and rinsed with tap water and are placed on the bottle drainer to eliminate any excess water. Now it's necessary to sanitize the bottles. To sanitize, pour approximately 1 liter of sulfide solution into the bottle sulfider. Affix the sulfider pump and pump sulfide into each bottle. Place the bottles back onto the bottle drainer to drain. Once the bottles are cleaned, rinsed, and sanitized, they are now ready to be rinsed with sterile water. Using about 1 liter of previously boiled tap water, which has now cooled down, we rinse again with water to eliminate all the residue of sulfite. Once this is done, carefully siphon the beer back into the sanitized primary fermenter, leaving all sediment behind. Add 1 cup of corn sugar and stir gently to dissolve. You will notice that it makes a lot of foam and the reaction is very vigorous. At this stage, you may also add a foaming agent. Ask your retailer. Use the siphon rod and hose to fill the bottles with beer. Take note that it's important not to overfill or underfill the beer bottles. It's recommended to leave approximately 2.5 centimeters between the beer and the cap. After a few trials, this will come easily. Once the bottles have been filled, they may be capped. Before capping, you must prepare the caps by rinsing with tap water. Then, sanitize with the sulfide solution and re-rinse with sterile water. Place the cap under the capper. Most of them have a magnet so the cap stays in place. Place the bottle in the center and lower the piston firmly. This will compress the cap onto the beer bottle. Twist off and conventional caps are both available. Once all the bottles are capped, the only thing left now is to identify the bottles properly. The easiest way to do so is to put a reference number on the cap by using a black marker. It's important to note that the bottles should be left in a warm place, 21 to 24 degrees Celsius for the next 7 to 14 days, so the fermentation in the bottle will take place. The last fermentation will produce a very small amount of sediment at the bottom of the bottle. It's important to note that most of the prestigious beers in the world have that sediment. This certifies that it's a real natural beer. When it's time to serve the beer, move it to a cooler location to chill the beer. Open the bottle. At this time, you should hear the classic psst and see the bubbles in the beer. Using a large glass, pour the contents of the bottle without disturbing the sediment. When the bottle is almost empty and you see that the sediment is starting to run into the glass, stop pouring. By doing this, you will have a nice, clear glass of beer. We suggest that you rinse the empty bottle right after pouring with hot water to remove all the sediment and store the bottle upside down in the case. By doing this, it will be a lot easier to clean the bottle for the next time. We hope that you have found this documentary interesting, and the only thing left is for us to wish you a good home brew.